Most people think you need fancy waterproof tarps or modern tents to stay dry outdoors. But during World War II, soldiers on the front lines couldn't rely on fragile fabric or store-bought gear. Their survival depended on practical field engineering, methods that turn mud, ash and scrap fabric into waterproof shelters that could outlast bomb storms and freezing rains. Those same principles can still transform your backyard into a self-reliant, storm-proof refuge today. What soldiers learned under fire now serves as a forgotten blueprint for anyone building durable backyard shelters, root cellars, or off-grid survival spaces without spending a fortune. The problem with modern tarps is the same one soldiers faced in the field. Tarps are convenient, but they're not built for long-term weather resistance. Under constant sun, they crack. Under heavy rain, they sag and leak. And once a single puncture or tear starts, the damage spreads quickly. During World War II, soldiers discovered this the hard way. Canvas covers would rot, collapse, and trap moisture instead of shedding it. To survive weeks in flooded trenches or bomb-blasted countryside, they had to come up with something that sealed itself naturally, using nothing more than what the earth provided. That's how the sealed earth shelter method was born. A hybrid design that combined soil science, clay layering and natural waterproofing to create protection stronger than any tarp or tent. It wasn't about covering the ground. It was about turning the ground itself into armor. The sealed earth trick turns raw soil into a waterproof shield. The beauty of this World War II trick lies in its simplicity. It starts with 3 layers that work together like skin: clay, waxed fabric, and soil. To recreate it in a backyard setting, all you need are basic tools, a patch of earth, and a few materials that cost almost nothing. Begin with the base structure. Use bent branches, scrap wood, or garden stakes to form a small A-frame or dome. It doesn't need to be large, just tall enough to crawl inside or cover gear. Next, create your first seal. Mix 4 parts clay with 1 part fine ash or charcoal dust. The ash makes the clay denser and prevents cracking. Spread a 1-inch layer over the frame, pressing it in tightly so it forms a continuous shell. Once that dries slightly, add your middle layer. This is the waterproof skin that soldiers use to replace tarps. Any sturdy fabric works. Old bed sheets, burlap or canvas. To waterproof it, melt down candle wax, beeswax or even leftover animal fat and brush it thoroughly into the cloth until saturated. Lay this waxed fabric directly on top of the clay, making sure it overlaps the edges. Finally, apply a top coat of clay mixed with straw or dry grass. This gives structure and prevents direct sunlight from softening the wax. Once it dries, you'll have a tough, flexible shell that sheds water naturally. In World War II tests, this combination stayed dry through days of continuous rain, and modern backyard versions perform just as well. Why this old war method outperforms modern backyard shelters? Unlike plastic or nylon, the sealed earth system regulates temperature and humidity. The clay layers act as both insulation and a moisture buffer, keeping interiors cooler in heat and warmer in cold. The waxed fabric layer creates a waterlock, while the outer soil coating absorbs and redistributes rainwater evenly. That balance prevents condensation and dripping, 2 problems that plague most backyard shelters made from plastic tarps. Another major advantage is longevity. A tarp might last a few months in open weather before degrading under UV light. A properly built, clay-sealed structure can endure for years with minor maintenance. All it needs is a fresh coat of clay or wax once a season. In wartime trenches, these shelters were used through entire winters with minimal upkeep, often becoming semi-permanent field bunkers. You can adapt this method for modern backyard projects. The same design principles work beautifully for practical backyard structures. If you're building a small root cellar, a compost cover, or even a kid's fort, this technique gives you a sturdy, breathable layer that outlasts plastic. Start by shaping your base mound or frame. For a root cellar lid or small storage dome, mix clay and ash to seal the structure. Then use the waxed fabric layer to ensure total waterproofing. Cover it with soil or mulch to protect it from UV light and erosion. For a survival shelter or camp hideout, scale the same concept to size. A clay and ash wall reinforced with straw can replace concrete in small builds. The waxed cloth barrier can be made from recycled feed sacks or cotton drop cloths treated with melted candle wax. When maintained properly, this combination stands up to wind, rain, and even mild frost. Some preppers go a step further by embedding short branches or reeds between the clay layers to add strength, similar to rebar in modern concrete. This turns a simple backyard shelter into a semi-permanent structure that can handle snow or falling debris. Science backs what the soldiers discovered. Modern studies of historical bunkers confirm the effectiveness of these natural materials. When compacted correctly, clay particles create a near-impermeable barrier to water, while ash neutralizes acids and keeps the layer breathable. The waxed fabric provides flexibility, preventing cracks as temperatures shift. It's a perfect balance of absorption, reflection, and strength, achieved long before synthetic materials existed. This layered approach also promotes natural insulation. In summer, it keeps interiors several degrees cooler than outside temperatures. In winter, it traps heat generated from even a small fire or body warmth. That made it invaluable during the war and makes it just as useful today for backyard sustainability and off-grid living. A forgotten war trick that deserves a place in modern backyards. It's ironic that something developed under the worst conditions of war remains one of the smartest, cheapest shelter methods ever invented. This WWII trick shows that real durability doesn't come from technology. It comes from understanding how natural materials interact. You can spend a fortune on tarps and waterproof coatings that fail after one season, or you can use what's already in your backyard to build something that lasts. The sealed earth shelter is more than a relic of wartime engineering. It's a timeless example of human resourcefulness and an answer to anyone who wants low-cost, high-efficiency protection from the elements. Whether you're testing your skills as a survivalist, building a resilient garden structure, or just want a project rooted in real history, this method proves itself every time the rain falls. If you want more guides that connect forgotten historical engineering with practical modern use, subscribe to In the Beginning and share this video with other history-minded builders. The best tools for survival aren't new, they're the ones time and war have already tested.